My heart goes out to him, not only as a physician, but also as a semi-professional athlete myself. An Achilles injury is one of the worst injuries. This is a long, strong tendon. Athletes have injuries with this tendon up to 25% of the time, meaning 1 in 4 athletes in their lives will have some sort of Achilles injury. But to have it at the age of 39 is really rough because it makes the road to recovery that much more difficult.
Yeah, so this is going to be gnarly. This is actually an injury that I'm quite familiar with. I had a calf tear with a 4-inch retraction gap that took me out of my football career. I was only 23 years old, I believe, at the time. And I mean, I think I was out for 18 months with that one. I mean, this is not a short-term injury. We're not just talking about being out for this season, right? I mean, obviously it's done. He's on injured reserve. This is going to be it for this year. But when we're talking about long-term implications, do you think he can come back from this? If so, is he even going to be ready at the start of next year's camp? Or what kind of timeline are we working with here?
Generally, the timeline that we think about for an Achilles tendon rupture, especially without knowing all the details of how severe the injury is and how much of the tendon is actually torn, the average time is 10 to 12 months. Look, we have seen athletes in the past recover quicker. There's been some very unique situations of someone coming back 6 months after. But at the age of 39, with someone like Aaron Rodgers, I don't expect for that to be the case. We even saw this injury with the late Kobe Bryant when he had this injury also in his mid 30s. And he came back from it, but he was never quite the same. He didn't have that explosiveness. Because what happens when you rupture the Achilles tendon, the entire calf muscle, which is one of the strongest muscles in the human body, has to be able to propel up to 4 times the body weight on one leg, gets injured, it rides up. The whole calf muscle actually goes up. It starts to atrophy because there's no tension on it. Muscles are just like any other part of the human body. You don't use it, you lose it. So we start losing that muscle. It's going to be a long road to recovery to make sure that tendon attaches, the muscle strengthens, it gets its healthy range of motion. At age 39, it's going to be very difficult, not impossible. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for the great Aaron Rodgers.
So what's he going to look like though after he comes back from this? Is there going to be permanent residual damage, and to what extent do you think? I mean, obviously, maybe it's a little bit more helpful here that he's a quarterback and not a running back or a wide receiver or something like that. But we've seen Aaron Rodgers leave the pocket on multiple occasions. I mean, he is extremely fast for not only his position but his age as well. I mean, do you think he's going to be able to do even close to what he was doing before?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say his mobility will be limited even if he does come back. But the explosiveness is what suffers because it's hard to regain that strength. Although this day and age, we have some pretty cool technologies to help athletes heal faster and better than we did even 10 years ago. We've seen the greats like have an Achilles tendon injury and come back from it. I've seen Ronaldo have an injury of his ACL, which is not the same connective tissue, but he underwent hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which has shown some initial promise to help speed up some of this recovery, to bring some of those healing factors to an injury. So I'm excited to see the protocol that Aaron Rodgers goes through on this, because I think it's going to be not only exciting as a sports fan, but also as a doctor to see how the technology helps someone of his stature come back.
How painful is this recovery process going to be? Is this just going to be a grueling, nasty year ahead?
You know why this is going to be painful? Not because of a physical situation. It's painful mentally. He wants to be out there. He's on a new team. He's in New York. I mean, for God's sakes, this happened on 9/11 when emotions were so high in the city. I was in middle school here in New York when 9/11 happened. So yesterday was already a heavy moment for me. And then to see New Yorkers excited to come together for such a wonderful night, only to see their quarterback get injured as well, the mental turmoil for him. And I hope that not only he focuses on his physical pain and his physical symptoms, but his mental ones as well.